Hi, this is Bryan with New Mexico Dream House. Today, we're gonna go inside Boons Family Thai Barbecue and we're gonna interview the owner. This is a Farmington favorite. If you haven't tried it, you gotta try it out. You'll hear their stories of their struggles in getting started in the business. You'll learn a lot by watching this video. Let's go inside. Welcome to Boons Family Thai Barbecue. One of the best restaurants in town, definitely one of the best restaurants downtown. And I love this place. So I'm here with the owner, Maury Havens. Maury, tell us a little bit about, what interested you in the restaurant business? How'd you end up in this business?
Well, it was my wife really that was the one that started out in the restaurant industry. She began her first Thai restaurant in Honolulu, Hawaii in 1987.
Oh, wow.
Spent about 2 years in that environment. She relocated to the Los Angeles market where we met back in 2000. And she continued to do that for a couple years and helped open 2 restaurants in the Flagstaff market. I helped with one of those. At that point, I'm like, well, why don't we do one of these for ourselves? At that point in 2001, where we actively started kind of putting a plan together to see where we would end up and open our first Thai restaurant for ourselves.
So we were talking about this a little bit earlier. Where did you start your first Thai restaurant?
We opened in Aztec, New Mexico, just 10 miles down the road.
Yeah.
We had a very good, successful start there. A year later, with all the feedback from the Farmington residents that were coming out to Aztec, we were encouraged to look for a location in Farmington. We were lucky enough to find the current home that we're in a rental scenario, and we were opening in February of 2006. So we literally ran both restaurants for about 7 years. After that point, we decided to sell the Aztec location and just focus on the Farmington location itself.
Yeah, that's a lot of work to run one restaurant, let alone 2 restaurants for 7 years.
It is, and it's really demanding on my wife, who's the creator of all the recipes and the trainer of all the cook. It was a struggle for her to kind of balance her time between both locations. We just felt we could offer a better product, a more quality environment by focusing just on one location.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, what was the biggest struggle in getting your business off of the ground?
We were very fortunate. I mean, probably the biggest thing is finding Thai workers and or equipment related to Asian cooking. Get all that gathered up and remodel the kitchens to make it Asian food friendly.
Yeah, and you've been in business almost 20 years now. And everybody I know in Farmington knows Boons Thai. So you're definitely a household name here, and I think I've never met anybody who doesn't like your foods. What is your favorite thing on the menu?
One of my favorites is our best-selling dish, and that's the traditional Pad Thai noodle. It's our highest volume selling dish, and I think that's one just because of the traditional quality of the noodle dish that's put out. We have another popular dish called 𝗥𝗘𝗔𝗟𝗧𝗢𝗥, which is a ramen noodle dish with a curry base, which comes from northern Thailand in the Chiang Mai, Thailand area, which is where my wife originated from.
Okay. So my favorite thing on the menu is definitely the 𝗥𝗘𝗧𝗢𝗥. 𝗥𝗘𝗧𝗢𝗥 is absolutely my favorite. I think there's a big ramen craze that seems to have hit the country the last 5 years, and it's like ramen and yellow curry had a baby, and it's fantastic. It's a beautiful baby, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So were you the first Thai restaurant in the area?
We were the first full-service Thai restaurant in the market, and at this point, we continue to be the only one in the Farmington market as a sit-down Thai entity.
Yeah, now, introducing a new culture into an embedded culture. How was that in terms of introducing food? We interviewed Monica last month, and she was just up and running. Was there any difficulty getting people used to Thai food?
People have acclimated to the Thai cuisine very good in this market. And it continues to grow each year as people get exposed to the flavors and the sauces of the Thai dishes.
I can't remember exactly what I had the first time. I think the first time I came in, I had the orange chicken, which is fantastic. But is that traditionally a Thai dish, or is that?
That's a little more of a fusion dish,
okay.
Typically a Chinese-oriented dish, but we put a Thai-style spin on it, kind of using some different flavors in the sauces, and we actually do a spicy orange chicken as well. very popular.
Yeah, it's excellent. You know, I've been here a few times and tried different things, mostly the orange chicken because it's so good. And then when I had the 𝗥𝗘𝗔𝗟𝗧𝗢𝗥 for the first time, it was like game over. I don't really order anything else. I've tried a few different things. 𝗥𝗘𝗧𝗢𝗥, Lotus Heaven, and then orange chicken. In that order are probably my favorite dishes on the menu.
Sure. Sure. Well, and the thing is, our menu is extremely diverse as well. Surprisingly, we do a really good business in the seafood area. Siam spicy catfish, a very popular dish. Garlic and curry salmons, which are very popular. That's been a surprising thing, I think, for people that try that. The curries are always popular. There's 5 different varieties of curry. That's a very traditional Thai dish that's extremely popular and somewhat addicting, might I say.
Yeah, I'll have to try it. Like I said, you know, since I've been ordering 𝗥𝗘𝗧𝗢𝗥, I probably average coming in here every couple weeks. I've always got an itch for that when I come in, so I need to try something else. The other day I was in here and I saw on another table there was a flaming soup dish. Mm-hmm. What is that?
So there's 3 different soup dishes that we serve in that what they call a hot pot. The 𝗥𝗘𝗔𝗟𝗧𝗢𝗥 is a chicken. Kai is chicken in Thai. Extremely traditional and popular soup dish. There's a tom yum goon being shrimp. It's like a hot and sour soup. Very, very popular and very traditional. And then we do a seafood soup. All of those are presented in that flaming pot, served out individually. You can share that as an appetizer. You can eat it individually, however you'd like to do it.
I'm gonna have to try that next time. Mm-hmm. So a big headline this week from the New Mexico Association of Restaurants, I think is the one who released this. 1,100 restaurants went out of business during the pandemic. How did you survive the pandemic?
We were very blessed. It was a tough transition. We had to obviously go to all takeout and delivery only, but we had such a good base clientele that supported us during that period.
That's awesome.
That really spoke loudly to how the community supported us during that time. And it's remained about a quarter of our business, you know, now 2 years later. That really helped build some growth as far as overall volume.
Well, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. And it seems to be, I think there's something special about a locally owned business. People come in here and, you know, when I come in here, more than half of the time I see you in here and you come over and you come say hi to our table, check on us, see how the food is. You're really invested in your business and you're really invested in the community. I hope in a town like Farmington, I think people really rallied around the small businesses, because I think what we realized is that if we don't support you, nobody's coming to rescue you. You know, the Olive Gardens, the Chili's, the Applebee's, all of those are gonna be fine, right? But we had to come in and order takeout and make sure that the community was supporting the business. So I'm glad it worked out for you guys.
Yeah, I really feel fortunate that we transitioned through that time period so well. It's only been on the up and up since then.
What are you most excited about in your business moving forward?
The transition that happened in downtown Farmington, the Main Street concept of making it more walk friendly, and we've seen an additional amount of traffic, an additional amount of foot traffic that's come through, seems to be lending itself to a more popular destination for the town, you to come down and check out downtown and see what it brings to the table. We've got some great partner restaurants down here.
Yeah, I think what they've done out here is beautiful. And you have the art walks and the Downtown Association and several different organizations that will organize events down here. The Fall Crawl is coming up.
Right.
There's a lot of cool things that happen down here. So It's a good place to be. I guess as we're wrapping this thing up, what is something I should know about Boons Thai that I don't?
Well, just a little history of how we probably got started. Our son is Boon, so we named the restaurant after Boon. At the time he was 8 years old when we lived in Southern California. We lived next to a Thai restaurant that was a block away, and its name was generic, and it just said Thai barbecue on the front. When he was 8 and sitting in the backseat of the car as we were driving by, we said to him, well, Boon, what do you think about opening a restaurant and naming it after you and calling it Boons Thai Barbecue? At 8 years old, he turned around and goes, "Mom, Dad," he goes, "it has to be Boons Family Thai Barbecue."
That's
So
cool.
that's how our name was originated, and we stuck with that. But it really stemmed from that comment from our son, and we just stayed true to that. The other thing that I think has been a key to our success is my wife's recipes, not wavering on the ingredients.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you can tell when you taste the food, you never realize what goes into a dish. You know, Monica was telling me that they bash up these chili pods, and actually that's where the name comes from. So locally owned restaurants, you're always going to have a high level of quality, and these folks are invested in our local economies. And I'm going to recommend, my favorite is the cow soy. But I'm going to try that flaming soup. One last thing, dessert. I have never ordered dessert here because I come in at lunch. Tell me about your dessert menu.
One of our most popular desserts is our sweet sticky rice. We can offer that in either a white sticky rice or a black sticky rice. You can either get that with a Thai custard over the top, or in season, we do fresh mango over the top, and that's an extremely popular dish. We also do other things. We make our own coconut ice cream from scratch, and that's an extremely popular dessert. We also offer things like fried bananas and honey, FBI, which is fried bananas and ice cream.
Yeah, that coconut ice cream sounds fantastic. Thank you for inviting us to Boons Family Thai Barbecue. This is one of my favorites. You have got to come down and try it out. It's absolutely fantastic. You won't be disappointed. That's my personal guarantee. Thanks for sharing your story with us. If you guys enjoyed, comment below. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.